Welcome to the last show of 2023, week 17 betting preview. Let me know if my mic is good. Starting a little bit 15 minutes late. My bad about that. I apologize in advance. Man, a lot to talk about this week. We got a lot of injuries. I'll wait until everyone barricades in here before we start talking about injuries. Joe Young, what's up, Joe? What's up, Prophet? Nice to see you, man. Yeah, man, it's been a pretty successful 2023 for us. I like what we've done. Let's hope we finish the year on a high because it's been fun. It's been lucrative, so I hope we can continue with it, man. Explicit says, put the house on the Ravens to cover. Ooh. Let's see about that. What's up, Mike Stats? I love you too, Mike. Always great to see you. What's up, Gus? Happy New Year to you too as well, Gus. What's up, Ron? Big Ron's in the house. New 2 weeks in with you. Oh, what's up, Fins? Yeah, great to have you here, man. I assume you're a Dolphins fan. This channel has almost autistically bet them every single week of the year. And yeah, it's 10-5 against the spread. I can't say I'm itching to bet them against the Ravens this week. I didn't make them a money pick. But am I the only one who thinks like maybe the Ravens just come out a bit fat after that manhandling of the 49ers? And I thought maybe we would get a better price on the Dolphins, considering everyone's been literally creaming their pants all week about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I thought maybe we would get like Miami plus 4.5. Hell, maybe Miami plus 5. When I picked it on Tuesday, it was Miami plus 4. Bunker mentality. I had to take Miami again. But to be honest, I want no business betting that game, but I will enjoy watching it. Couch Potato Bud. Hey, John, how are you? What's up, Couch? RJ, what's up, Lawson? How about them Browns? You did good on the props last night on Patreon. I give you a lot of fucking credit on that. Yeah, man, it was a joy watching the Browns. It was an absolute joy and absolute pleasure. And I think I said 2 weeks ago, I feel like the Browns can make a run in the playoffs. And I wasn't joking. Like, I wasn't just I wasn't getting too headstrong about anything like that. I really feel like this Browns team can cause serious matchup issues. And let's just give a hypothetical matchup for you guys. Let's say we got the Browns on the road. I'm not even looking at the standings, but let's just play hypothetical right now. Let's say we got the Browns on the road to the Bills. I think they're going to give us like Browns plus 6.5, Browns plus 7. And you guys already know what I'm going to do with that. And it's what we've been doing the whole year. Every time they get cold on the Browns, we keep the money flowing and then we take it back. That's pretty much been the Browns this whole year. And if you look at it, man, I don't know if there's a talented roster top to bottom if you take out quarterbacks. Yeah, I don't know if listen, I know they've had a lot of injuries the whole year, and I know having Joe Flacco as your quarterback isn't the sexiest thing, but this roster top to bottom is absolutely phenomenal, man. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, man. Browns was nice last night. Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. I'm glad we didn't get timid with it on Tuesday's show. If you guys remember on Tuesday's show, like, I don't like betting Thursday night. I just said, like, if we're going to bet one the whole year, it kind of has to be this one, right? Okay, here we go. Yeah, well, RSVP, a lot of people, I was the only one picking the Browns last night. I believe it, man. I believe it. There's just a lot of people low on the Browns. And, like, listen, I get why. And we've been betting them the whole year, and we know how absolute turgid some of their games have been. We know how many errors they make per game. Like, we even saw a little bit last night. They probably should have won that game by like 30, 40 points. Am I exaggerating? And then the unforced errors, there's just a lot of it. What's up, JJ? Hello, Lawson. Have a good show. I wish my Raiders had a 50% offense. We would go further into the playoffs. Have a good show, man. Thanks, JJ. Yeah. And this Raiders Colts one is tough because obviously when you look at that matchup between Aiden O'Connell and Minshew, you're going to ride with Minshew in the dome, correct? And I honestly don't even think Minshew was all that bad against the Falcons last week. I just think the rest of the offense was absolute shit. But that's why I'm going Raiders to cover still. Like, I think this Raiders defense has a big edge on the Colts defense. And Lauren said a few weeks ago, and I'll repeat the same thing. This Colts defense is putty against the run. And this is the first game we've seen Atlanta actually pound someone into oblivion, even with all the money they spent. I just don't think they're going to be able to push around the Raiders front seven. And I don't think the Raiders are going to roll over in that game. And really, you only worry about Aiden O'Connell, JJ, because if your Raiders had a guy who could deal even at an average level in this league, this team would be dangerous. I agree. And one thing that was really worrisome about the Colts last week was, listen, man, we know the defensive line outside of DeForest Buckner doesn't have a lot of dogs, a lot of playmakers. We know the linebacking core is a little bit small and the secondary can struggle. But I was really worried with how the Colts offensive line got their ass kicked. Their running game was non-existent. And then you had Jonathan Taylor. He wasn't even running hard through the hole, man. He was just dancing around. And most of the time, there was no hole to run to. It was just a brick wall of Grady Jarrett and Calais Campbell getting penetration every single run play. And then you got these Colts wide receivers, and, we're supposed to be happy Pittman's playing, and he doesn't get any separation. The only receiver skill position that seems to get any separation is Josh Downs. And I think the Raiders will have a plan for it. I really like the Raiders with the +3.5, man. St. Nick, I think that's I think that's St. Nicholas says, I trust the Raiders D far more than the Colts. Yeah. Like, guys, like that performance we saw the Colts defense, like I really like Eric Speed. Like I really like Zaire Franklin at linebacker, but I just feel like that team's too small in the interior. I don't know about you guys, but wow, the way they got their ass kicked last week was like an 80s ass kicking. That wasn't like our 2015, 2023 version of an ass kicking where Mahomes is slanging it for 500 yards. Like that was like an ass kicking like in the 80s they got. And I wonder how that affects them moving forward. Erica Taylor, Eagles game over. No, JJ, Josh Taylor is questionable. It looks like he's as good as ruled out. I thought he would be back. It doesn't look like he's coming back. That was a little bit of a blow, but I still think you're getting good running back play. And I think the offensive line is getting a really good push, man. So, yeah, man. And someone's talking about in the chat, like, Bears are down to -2.5. Like, and like, I picked the Falcons in that game to even win. It's just, I do wonder about that as well. I'm like, is this really the time you want to get behind the Falcons? Like, listen, I think the Falcons win the game. I just don't think I would bet my hard-earned money on it. And I think one thing with the Falcons you always have to worry about is, listen, we talk about like dome teams. When dome teams go play out in the cold or on real grass, we talk about the throwing teams mostly. But one thing with the Falcons, man, that footing in Soldier Field is going to be radically different. And this Bears defense is playing really, really good. And Heineke made 3 or 4 big mistakes in that game against the Colts. And the Colts just weren't good enough to take advantage of it. But that's the problem with Atlanta the whole year. They're a run-first football team that you always see them throwing interceptions. And Heineke did give a little bit of a bounce. Credit to Heineke. But man, those balls were lobbed. Those balls were in traffic, bouncing off defenders' hands. I don't know if I want to fuck with this Bears defense. Just don't know. Yeah, I like the Falcons. Just don't know if I want to really push the button on that. I do think like this Bears offense, even though like we know the Bears have been playing good for like what? Like they kind of went on a little bit of run there. I think a lot of people are missing the fact that their offense has done fuck all. And we're seeing the worst version of Justin Fields we've seen since he entered the league. Yeah, now, and then we got these like big spreads like Bills, Eagles. If you gave me a choice between that massive Bills spread and that massive Eagles spread, I'm going to go with the Eagles on that one. I'm going to go with the Eagles on that one. So let's get to the injury news. Obviously, man, I'm going to have to jump off that money pick for the Jags. Going to have to jump off that. Listen, I still think the Jags can win. So if you had like a Jags-Browns teaser, I don't think you should completely just punch a wall due to the bad luck. But yeah, it looks like Lawrence was announced as officially out. And that's going to obviously be a big blow. And we're seeing it down to like 3.5. We're seeing it down to 4. I think by the time it gets to game time, it's going to be like a -3. And I don't think there's anything we can do with that. Nor would I want to do anything with CJ Beathard. Yeah. So, okay, let's get to the Patreon questions. What's up, Bodyguard? What's up, Dave? Okay. Yeah, listen, that like for me, that Bears-Falcons one is a coin flip game. I think they did a good job on that spread. Let's just say that. Okay, so let's get to the first Patreon question. Let me pull them up. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. No Jets playoffs. What is your game selection ritual? I find games on accident. How do you go on a hunt for them? DeAndre Pittman. I don't really go on a hunt for them. I mean, I kind of go on a hunt for the soccer ones, but that's a different story. But I just go. I try to watch every game every week in the NFL. That's what I try to do. So I'm not necessarily on the hunt. I wake up Monday morning. I see the spreads. I do the show on Tuesday. I do 2 more shows on Wednesday, and then I come on here and talk to you guys Friday, and then I put the bets in Friday night. That's about as much as the hunt I go on. I'm not trying to get into elaborate props like some people. It's just not that interested. I did make a prop list because I did see some questions. It's that time of the year people want props, so I did make some props. But just on games, when I was looking at games where I'm like, okay, I think this is a bad matchup for so-and-so team. Like, for instance, the prop I like the most is DeAndre Swift over 66.5 rush yards. I really like that against the Arizona Cardinals defense. They can't stop anyone. We'll see if the Eagles have a better performance, but regardless, I think Swift is going to get it 15, 17 times, and I just can't see this Cardinals defensive line, defensive front 7 getting better. So, okay, Hero Onoda. What's up, Hero? On your soccer bets, does your book have draw protection as an option? In the lower leagues, they don't have that option. I find that strange. You should cover your risk with an additional bet on the draw. Ooh, okay. They should have that because, for instance, we were down in the lower leagues where we bet Cheltenham, draw, no bet. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and we had it. But what sports books don't? Some of them will write it in different ways. Like, for instance, not trying to get into too much rigmarole, but let's say you have soccer team A at soccer team B. There's a thing in soccer called the spread, and sometimes you'll even see it listed as pick'em. So you'll have the spread like +1, plus 1, plus 0.5. And then you can look to the plus 0.0, and that's your draw protection. But to answer your question, if you can't get the draw protection, I would not float in an additional bet. I would pretty much do a little bit smaller bet on the money line, like some of you guys did. Some of you guys got paid off for that. Like, it was a difference between plus 160 and plus 270. Like, that's a big difference, but you still should lower your bet, especially because we know in soccer, the draw protection's always looming, man. Like, that draw is always looming, and it sucks when you lose a bet the last second. Kevin Singh, John, I feel like this Pittsburgh team will fight hard for it. Me too, Kevin. I like the defensive line eating, Geno away, and Mason Rudolph slinging it away. It's going to be a big day for this offense that has been held back from what it can really do. Don't forget, Mason has been in the system for years in Pittsburgh and under Big Ben. No, I get what you're saying. I'm kind of on the same rationale. I go into this game expecting very little from Mason Rudolph. Let's just say that. Like, I go into this game expecting fuck all from him. Absolutely fuck all. But with that being said, like, Steelers with the hook makes sense to me. And I've been worried about Seattle this whole year. I'm worried about the offensive line. I'm worried about Geno Smith's performance. This defense has let me down a lot this year. I think a lot of people don't understand how bad the Seattle defense has been at times. Now, are the Steelers going to be able to throw it on them? Because that's the biggest weakness in the Seattle defense, the secondary. The secondary just isn't very good, and they're kind of predictable in the coverages they play. But I do like the Steelers in this game. The only thing that worries me and would give me hesitation is we've seen the Steelers defense struggle stopping the run this year. And if Seattle can run the football, they'll be able to move the ball. But I don't like the direction of this Geno Smith Seattle Seahawks team as much as other people. You do fear the home field advantage, but I feel like the Steelers are going through a little bit of a hot streak. I do, man. I do. And I watched that Seattle and Titans game. Guys, I did not see anything good out of Seattle. Like, the last drive was great, and you got to give them credit, but they're not utilizing their weapons properly. Like, we're not seeing DK utilized right. We're not seeing Tyler Lockett utilized right. It's always tough betting on an offense with a low when we know the Steelers offense, if they're not on their game and if they can't run it on first down, we know they could put up one of those games where they only muster 10 points. But I like Tomlin in this, man. I like Tomlin in this. And also, Seattle has struggled pass blocking the whole year, especially on the right side. TJ Watt coming into town is probably the last guy you want to see. Calvin Jones, Lawson, Happy New Year. What's up, Calvin? Let me read what you said. Lawson, Happy New Year. Does the Eagles show this week against the No Names they have Super Bowl worthy and cover that spread? Yeah, man. 49ers are playing the No Names. And one thing that I was concerned about was Jacoby Brissett took a hamstring injury. So I would not take the No Names to cover that game. I just wanted to get that piece of news out there. Listen, I think this is a bad matchup for Arizona. And Tyler Murray's got a little bit of a sickness, flu bug, illness. What word do we want to use? He's questionable for the game. And the big matchup is the Cardinals front seven going to be able to stop the Eagles run game? I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. And they fought hard this year, and they put up valiant effort after valiant effort. But I think the Eagles are going to come out in kill mode this game and absolutely obliterate them physically. So, yeah, man, I think the Eagles win and cover that game. The Commanders one is a little bit open-ended because if they get Sam Howell, I think the 49ers can beat them by 30 or 40 points. As crazy as that, as crazy as that sounds in the NFL. Leal said it, Lawson, why are you taking the Vikings this week? Is it because y'all are going against your rivals? I just don't know what you see. Well, so what's your argument, my man? Because if you make one argument, I can understand what you're going with. So the good argument against the Vikings this week is to say Brian Flores' defense got figured out the last 2 weeks. Second half against the Bengals, full 4 quarters against the Lions. The Lions absolutely figured it out. They absolutely slaughtered the Vikings in the flats. I mean, it was really, really ruthless, some of the things the Lions were doing. Now, I think to truly slaughter the Vikings defense, you have to be able to run it. And the Lions ran it good, and every time they ran the ball, they were getting 4 or 5 yards. And they were utilizing play action good, which obviously, if you're zone blitzing, play action, quarterback has time, that can be exploited. Man, I don't think Jordan Love has came all that far. Like him putting up 33 points against the Carolina Panthers doesn't really put me in a cause for pause. Also, Jaren Hall, I looked at the tape again because I told you guys on Instagram, Jaren Hall will be starter for Nick Mullins. And man, I am quite happy with it. I don't think the Vikings are going to go down without a fight. I think the Vikings have home field advantage. And one thing that I've liked about the Vikings the last 4 or 5 weeks is the run game has gotten better. Like we saw it dominate at times against the Bengals. I know that people are going to say the Bengals defense sucks, but whatever. And I do think this Vikings offense will be able to move the ball. Some of the things I've seen out of Justin Jefferson the last 2 weeks has been absolutely phenomenal. I don't like Jordan Love against zone blitzes. I don't like Jordan Love against man coverage. And I don't like this Packers defense. And then if you look at the Packers defense, like, listen, we can talk about Joe Barry. We know that is a dead man walking. We know that scheme just isn't firing right. But my big issue is no Jair Alexander. He's suspended, and you got 2 7th-rounders at both of the quarterback positions, and you got a Green Bay defense that just doesn't seem to be fighting. Like, they gave up 30 to Bryce Young last week. So, yeah, man, I didn't see if most of the bets, most of the opinion were on the Packers. Did not see that. But yeah, man, I like Minnesota this game, and I like how O'Connell has continued to deal with the absence of Kirk Cousins. I think he's doing a pretty good job of putting shitty quarterbacks in positions to succeed. Showtime. How do you suspend Alexander for the biggest game of the season? I know. That whole story was bizarre. And that whole story was bizarre, Showtime. And listen, it's hard to say like, oh, this is an Alamo game for the Packers when probably their best defensive player outside of Rashawn Gary is suspended for doing some dumb shit. Man, and I do feel like LaFleur is losing control of that locker room a little bit. Like, I do feel like he's getting bucked off that Broncos, so to speak. There isn't a lot of science in that, but when Baker Mayfield looks like Joe Montana and Bryce Young looks good against you 2 weeks in a row, don't we have a little bit of evidence to say, like, I kind of think that team's looking more forward to when the playoffs start so they can go on vacation? It just depends what your psychologist chair says to you. Like, that's what it says to me. Like, I was even feeling that vibe from them before the Bucs game. I don't know about you guys, but even before the Bucs game, I was kind of feeling that vibe. And we kept hearing that as long as they're in Lambeau, they're going to play good. And then Baker Mayfield whoops their ass, puts up like 350. Okay. Yeah. The Bills Patriots. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised you guys are all focusing on that game. Jeremy Wheel, Chargers and Raiders looks like a trap. yeah, I feel like we lost a little bit of value with the Chargers. Can I ask the chat a question? Like, I know Russell Wilson has gotten really positive media coverage this year. I know Russell has gotten good coverage this year from the media, but is there that big a difference between Jarrett Stidham and Russell Wilson at this point in time in their careers in the Broncos offense? I actually think there's an argument to say that Stidham might be an upgrade. I don't have any evidence to prove that. We saw Stidham a little bit last year, had one good performance, had one bad performance. We don't have a lot of sample size on him. Yeah, so that's really up for you guys to decide. I do think the Chargers are getting a little bit low for my liking, especially when you have to consider Mile High is one of the best home field advantages. Like, if we're talking Chargers plus 5.5, like earlier in the week, like I get that. New coach bounce, although Bosa and Keenan Allen are out of that game, which makes me nervous. Yeah, man, I'll probably go to the Broncos with the -3.5. Got to say that. And after seeing that Friday injury report for the Chargers, I kind of like it more. Yeah, like I don't mind stick. I don't mind stick. It's just the Chargers struggle to run the ball, which you need to do against Denver because we know the weakness of that defense is the front seven. Secondary has actually been playing really good. So you kind of need to run the ball against the Broncos, and the Chargers have proven they just can't do that. Someone go look up the stats, but I think they're the worst running team in the league. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Broncos offense obviously won't be high octane. I think Cortland Sutton is out of the game. But I do feel like the Broncos skill positions at this point in time without Keenan Allen are better than the Chargers. And I do think this Broncos defense is better, although that's hard to tell because I don't think that Chargers defense was playing hard since week 7. And then we saw the boost last week against the Bills once they got the new coach bounce. Okay, here we go. Quat, I'm on Houston -4.5. Las Vegas +3.5. Jacks -6 if Lawrence is playing. Lean Rams -5.5 too. What do you think, Money Man? Let's get this. What's up, Quat? Nice to see you, my guy. Fuck that Houston one, man. We just lost our value on the Texans this year. I guess we're going to have to wait until they get to the playoffs for us to get good value on them again. We're just not getting it. Like, to think that we got them at home with CJ Stroud and Tank Dell a few weeks back for -3 against the Broncos. And I'm worried about this Houston offense without Tank Dell, man. I am worrying about it. I would still go Texans to win and to cover this game. I think the Titans are absolutely terrible in the secondary. Noah Brown's playing really good. Questionable for the game, but I think he practiced Friday. Nico Collins, like both of them are player props I will look at. Like Noah Brown's only like over 43.5. Fuck, my computer might die. Fuck, where's my charger? Okay. Fuck. Okay, yeah. So I'm just worried about the Texans one. Like, I get it if you want to bet it. I just don't think we're getting the value we want. I like the Raiders +3.5. On a rant about it. It's just really worried about this Colts inability to run the ball. And I'm worried about this Colts defense ability to be physical at the point of attack. And I don't know if there's a team playing with more heart, more verb than the Raiders defense. I would like someone to find me a unit. And the Jags, yeah, we got to get the fuck off of it. And the Rams -5.5. I don't know. I like the Giants. Maybe I'm just trying to be contrarian too much. I like the Giants that game. I'm sure we'll get into it, but I do like the Giants. Okay, here we go. I wanted to see people's opinions. I wanted to see people's opinions on the Stidham versus Russell Wilson. I guess that. Okay, let's get to the next Patreon question. Thanks for the question, Quet. This is from Derek. Hey, bro, what are your thoughts on this 7-point teaser? Any games you don't like or anything you'd change? Dallas plus 1.5. Philly minus 4.5. Miami plus 10. Buffalo minus 7, San Fran minus 6, KC plus 0.5 point. Okay, I like the KC. I like the San Fran. I like Buffalo, but yeah, I just don't know if we want to if we couldn't bring that 6.5, but I guess you're limited by the 7-point teaser. I'm not going to tell you to take Buffalo off. Miami, give me Miami plus 10. The only one I would take off is Dallas. I just think there is a possibility they lay an egg. So yeah, man, I'd go with Philly minus 4.5, Miami plus 10, Buffalo minus 7, San Fran minus 6, KC plus 0.5 point. Richard Denito, how about them Browns? Did you ever think Joe Flacco would take them this far? And how far do you think they can go with him in that defense? They must be regretting paying Watson all that money. Yeah. And I've been high on the Browns this whole year. And the Flacco edition was something that I needed to reignite my energy. And like I was saying earlier in the show, I don't know if there's a team top to bottom more talented than the Browns. And I think the Browns could get out of the AFC. Like, I'm not trying to be crazy. I was hinting towards this 2 weeks ago. I think we can get value on them. I think we can ride them into playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl or anything fucking crazy, but I think they can cover a lot of spreads for us in the playoffs. And I really do like how they match up against these good teams, against like the Chiefs, the Bills, the Dolphins, Ravens. I like how they match up with those teams. And this offense, at the end of the day, like, I don't think the Browns can pull like a New York Giants when Eli was 9-7 going into the Super Bowl. Like, I don't think they can pull something like that off because they just don't win the turnover battle and they make too many critical errors. But I think they can win us a lot of money in the playoffs and get at least one upset. Robin, John, let us know 1 or 2 of your over-under picks if you put money on it, or for us to take part in the action wherever there's value. Okay, can I bring that up real quick, Robin? I got to be honest, I didn't like the over-unders that much this week. And then last week, like, every single game turned into a shootout, which was kind of a surprise. Wow. Okay. So let me get to some of the ones that were interesting to me. What was one that was very interesting? I like the under in the Giants-Rams game, that under 43.5. That is one I like. And the second one I liked was the over 48 and the Eagles-Cardinals. Like, I think the Eagles can get to the 30-point here. So you do worry about Kyler Murray maybe missing this game with an illness. But if the Cardinals are a decent dance partner, I think this can go over 48. And that second one is between Commanders, 49ers over, or Cardinals, Eagles over. I would lean towards Cardinals, Eagles because I think Kyler Murray will play. And I'm worried about this Jacoby Brissett hamstring. Really worried about the hamstring injury, guys. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so Robin, that would be it for me. The one I like most is Giants Rams under. Anthony LaChugga, 49ers first half -7. Bounce back first half against a bad defense, and some really good scripted players from Shanahan should put them out ahead. Yeah. Can't disagree there. And just to add, Commanders have, I think, I know the stats probably won't say this, but I think they're the worst defense in the league now. I really do. Charles Kaiser. I feel like this is a lighter week for me. I know you don't do college football, but Bama is an underdog to Michigan. Moneyline Bama is the play. Borderline college fun. Game is Monday. Charles, I respect you a lot, man. Maybe I'll throw some dough behind you because I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like I know some of the players. Like I watched 2 Alabama games this year. I watched like 1 Michigan game, but to be honest, I don't know what the fuck's going on in college football. But yeah, man, Nick Saban underdog. I imagine some people spin narratives like we hear about Bill Belichick underdog, but man, I watched one of the games I watched was like Alabama Auburn, so. Felt like Auburn should have won that, but that's a different story. Lawton Hargrove, quick thoughts on Jags Chiefs teaser. Jags even Chiefs minus half point. Yeah, man, Lawton, let's just get away from the Jags because Lawrence is out. But I really, when I wrote down some possible teaser legs, I really like the Chiefs. Like they are getting a little bit of home cooking this week. Cincinnati's defense is struggling. And I get it, like this Chiefs offense isn't what it was last year. It wasn't what it was in the past. But I don't think they're going to get their ass rammed 2 weeks in a row. So, like, and I do wonder, like, even if the Chiefs offense struggles, how much can Browning do? And has Browning been figured out? And like I said, like, my theory about backup quarterbacks is still the same. There is a point of diminishing return. The more they play, the worse they get. And I think we've seen Browning's end date, so to speak, aging like milk. Matthew Stallworth, Floston, just wanted to say thank you for a profitable season. Had a blast, brother. Hope we continue into the playoffs. Thank you, Matt. You're always bringing good fucking vibes, man. Yeah, man, I feel like we did pretty damn good this year. I mean, there's always some bets you want to have back, right? I mean, but yeah, man, I feel like we've done pretty good this year. Soccer, we've been spinning it. My bad for the lack of soccer bets during the festive season. Bro, it's just like they got games every 3 days, and then you see a lot of result variation with that that I try to stay away from. I don't want to be on the back end of a buzzsaw when a team doesn't show up because they have no legs. But yeah, man, appreciate it, Matt. Got a lot of love for you, my man. Don't panic. First time I'm doing a teaser. Let me know what you think. Jags +4. I still would go with Jags +4. But maybe we can substitute another team. Like maybe we could substitute Falcons if you didn't put it in already. Maybe we could substitute Raiders. Okay, you Jags +4, Chiefs +3.5, Raiders +13.5, -120 odds. I like that. Just replace the Jags with the Falcons. That's what I would do. And a lot of people are saying tease the Patriots up to 20. I saw that on the Instagram this week. Bro, we should stick away from doing that. Like we should avoid doing that. Yeah, so if you want to substitute for the Jags, like substitute in like the Falcons or substitute in the 49ers. But other than that, man, I like it. I would still roll with Jags +4. Ron Borkwin. Hey, Lawson, what's up? Looking for a good 3-team 6-point teaser. We've been killing it. Have a happy new year. Thank you, Ron. Yeah, so it's along the same lines. Like I'm going to go Chiefs, Raiders, 49ers. Or Chiefs, Raiders, Eagles. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, give me Chiefs, Raiders, Eagles. End of story. Chiefs, Raiders, Eagles. I'll even write it in the comment. Chiefs, Raiders, Eagles. Okay. Nicholas Vincent. Hi, Lawson. Thanks for all the picks and happy holidays. Was wondering what your favorite 6-point 2-team teaser is. Thanks. Let's get Chiefs. Give me Chiefs and Raiders on that one. Give me Chiefs and Raiders on the 2-teamer. Yeah, like I said on Patreon last night, the Browns were a perfect team to tease last night. Unfortunately, paired him with the Jags. So your boy's going to be sweating on Sunday, but I hope you guys can all avoid that. Reef, when are the money picks dropping? Probably about like 8:30 Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern, maybe a little bit earlier tonight. Okay, let me reload it. I think I missed a question from Crew and Lauren. We'll get Lauren on. Fuck, man. It's fucking internet, man. Okay. We're good. Okay, let's get it. Yo, and to those of you who support on Patreon this year, like, you guys have been phenomenal, man. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. Okay, let's load all the comments. Okay. I think Lauren wants to just give her teaser, so we'll just get her on. Marcy just wanted to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It's been a very prosperous season. Thank you, Marcy, man. I've enjoyed it. I feel like we've had one of our better years this year. It's just the problem with betting now is there is always going to be drastic ups and downs. I want to keep us equal. Like, if I had a choice, if I had my perfect world, we'd go 3-2 every single week. I don't even want to go 5-0 or 4-1. Just 3-2 every week. That would be my perfect world. But man, I feel like we settled down around, like, we always start the season hot. That's one thing I always guaranteed. We always start the first 3 weeks where we slang it and go better than everyone else. Then I felt like we had like a good renaissance, like week 8 to 12, where it's just really kicked some ass. Okay, did I miss any questions? Okay, Lauren says, hey guys, if you want a same game parlay for Saturday, here's what I have. Goff over 1.5 touchdown passing. CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown. Gibbs over 48.5. Yeah, Gibbs looked really fucking good last week against the Vikings. Crew 60. John, Happy New Year. Question. I'm tossing it up on 2 games. I still think the Ravens have an edge on things coming to Baltimore. Listen, I agree. Like, yeah, man, I agree. It's just long term, like, gun to my head. I'm not sure the Ravens are better than the Fins. No, I'm not sure. I can't say that with certainty. And we're not getting the value to bet Miami this week. So it's probably going to be down to like Ravens -3 when most people put their bets in, which is Sunday morning. I do think Baltimore's going to be coming off a little bit fat after that game against the 49ers. I don't like doing that. Like, I like using more advanced psychology than that. Like, the Packers team seems to be quitting on LaFleur. Or I like to use more advanced psychology. I don't like to use that shit like, oh, when the Ravens come off the big win, they normally are trash. Like, I don't like doing that shit. But, well, yeah, man, that's just how I feel. Like, I don't think the Ravens just put in an A+ performance. We know in this league, there's just not a lot of consistency. And it's hard to put in 2 A+ performances in a row. Second question, is Dallas going to get shamed tomorrow night? I'd rather take the Lions plus points, not heavy but light. Thoughts? Yes. Crew, you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking? Yeah, man, I like the Lions with the points, and it's not a heavy bet. It's not something I want to, like, bet my weekend on, but I do think they'll be able to run it against the Cowboys. The Cowboys have been a hard team for me to figure out this year. Like, yes, we hit the pick with the Dolphins against the Cowboys last week, but I was kind of impressed with the way the Cowboys battled in that third and fourth quarter, because they were up against the ropes and Miami had a chance to send them to a different orbit, and they battled. So credit to them. Any good prop ideas for these 2 games? The only game that you gave me that I am interested in the prop is Dak Prescott over 275.5 pass yards. Because this Lions secondary stinks. I think the Lions run defense will do well, and I think the Cowboys will have to throw it a lot. So I would go Dak over his passing yards. Okay, let's get Lauren on. Let's get to the email. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Yeah, where are we at? How long have we been on? We've been on about like 45 minutes. So let's get Lauren on. Just loading up my Gmail now. Actually, oh, thank you for the super chats. I didn't even see the super chats, bros. Like, my bad. That's bad. That's bad on my part. My bad about that, man. That's bad. My sister yelled at me when I was back home for Christmas about that. Like, honestly, like, because I get so fucking zoned in, like almost like an autistic type performance level. Beaches and Dreams sends 50 Canadian dollars. That beach definitely looks like it's not in Canada. Maybe I have the wrong currency, but that looks absolutely marvelous, that beach. Thank you for the 50, man. I appreciate it, bro. Jocelyn Castillo sends $2. Thank you, Jocelyn. And thank you for joining on Patreon. What's your top 3 overs and unders today? Yeah, I gave them out already, but we'll bring it up. We'll bring it up. Like, here's what I liked. I liked the over in the 49ers Commanders game. That's probably like my third one. Can't say I was too happy about it. But the 2 I like, the 2 I would like you to seriously consider are fucking like the 2 I would like you to consider. Let me just bring it up, man. The 2 I would like you to consider is the over 48 in the Cardinals Eagles. I think that has a good chance to go over. I think the Eagles are going to get into the 30s. Cardinals can't stop the run. This Eagles secondary has struggled. Just make sure Kyler Murray is playing before you press that button. And I do like the under in the Rams Giants. Like, I think this Giants defense comes to play. I do wonder how the Rams are going to look west to east. So those would be the 2 ones I like. The 49ers Commanders, it's just a little bit up in the air because Brissett came late on the injury report. And as we know, that's not good news when that happens. It's just not good news. Yeah, I to be honest, like, I don't think this is a good week for over-unders. Like, because, for instance, like, I'm crazy, but I want to go under 52 in Dallas Cowboys. Like, I want to go under in this Dolphins-Ravens game. Yeah, but it just takes cojones to bet those teams to go under. But I think 52 is too damn high for the Lions Cowboys. I don't know about you guys. You guys can come flame me on that, but think that's really fucking high for a game that could be a playoff type atmosphere. Okay, let me send an invite to Lauren. Yeah, and thank you, Jocelyn. Showtime sends a $5 super chat. Lawson, you are a mad scientist, man. Cheers and Happy New Year. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Although sometimes some of the bets don't have a lot of science in them, as we know. Yeah, AutoStar super chats, man. They got my bad, man. This StreamYard kind of fucking sucks, man. And C. James, my wife is watching TV. She should be bringing me a fucking water, man, because my mouth is like fucking scratching. So don't you need to use the bathroom? So, okay, Lord, I'm sending it. Let me just get this StreamYard link. We're going to go with a different streaming platform. I think I'm going to stream it in OBS. If we got anyone who's really good with computers, and I want to improve the sound quality, because I feel like the sound quality's been all over the fucking place this year. I don't know about you guys. Most people listen on phones, so I guess it doesn't make it that big a difference. But I feel like the sound quality has been just absolutely all over the place this year. Okay, here we go. Shows Pochi Trasero Magua. Okay, so Coke Zero. Yeah, no Coke Zero today, man, because I think I'm actually going to, once I put the bets up, I think I'm going to drink tonight, Jarrett. I don't drink like you guys, but during this festive period, I do like to have a drink. So you don't want the Coke mixing in with the beer. I don't like beer. I drink whiskey and stuff like that. I just don't like the Coke mixing in too much, because to do the shots, I have to drink the Coke. And, you know, there's only so much a man's stomach can take. Brigado. Yeah, I drink rum. Would prefer whiskey, but listen, I'm not going to buy fucking Jack Daniels. Like, I'm not going to pay like fucking like $4.50 a bottle for something when I don't even like drinking all that much. Like, and plus, like, you guys got to remember, you live in the United States, you have access to vitamins that help, you know, settle the stomach when you're drinking. I don't have access to the quality you guys have. So I've always hated beer, Brian. I've always hated weird. Yeah, Cool Breeze. Yeah, Mike's audio has been fucking atrocious this year. Like, not even getting on Mike, but his audio has been absolutely fucking atrocious this year. Yeah, so that's true. What's up, Noah? Let's get this money, man. Shaft. Lauren posted the Gibbs over rush yards at 48.5. When I was looking today to prepare for the show, I saw at 54.5. And like, it makes sense to me. Like, the only thing I worry about is Montgomery's been absolutely balling. So you do wonder what the distribution of carries is going to be. That's the only question. But Gibbs was absolutely phenomenal against my Minnesota Vikings. He probably had the best game out of any running back we've played this whole year. So got to give them credit on that. Fredo, man, I'm loving the Raiders this week. It's not like a position I want to be in where I need to back the Raiders, but I kind of feel like I need to do it. Man. Because like we were talking about earlier in the day, man, I was worried. Listen, teams have fucking bad games in this league every single week. Okay, we can see we could see the Dolphins lose to the Panthers on any given Sunday. The Dolphins were down 14-0 at home to the Panthers. Just to give a little bit of perspective, we know how this league goes. But even with that being said, man, the Colts performance was terrible against the Falcons. They got their ass whooped on the offensive line. They got their ass whooped on the defensive line. They got their ass whooped. Their linebackers got their ass whooped. And Minshew didn't even play bad. It's just they got no separation out of the receivers. They weren't able to pass block as well. And we know Atlanta is not known for elite pass rushing. So yeah, man, that Colts performance was, and this Raiders team, like I've been saying this whole year, I don't think ever since Pierce has came in, there's another squad playing as hard for them. Lawson, you smoke dope. The thing I do like in the United States is that Delta 8. I really like that Delta 8. I really like the Delta 8 edibles and vapes. Because I'm not trying to get blasted, man. I'm just trying to relax and have a little bit of stress relief. And you guys know what I'm saying. Some people like to get ripped, and some of the stuff they're selling nowadays is, I don't even think it's like healthy. They turn a healthy thing into unhealthy. But yeah, man, I like the Delta 8. Unfortunately, like, yeah, that's not going to happen in Brazil. And it's just not going to fucking happen. Yeah, man, I'm fucking been jumping up and down the walls my whole life. I'm trying to get more mellow than amped, because, yeah, man. Jarrett Hart says, your recorded vids are in 1080p, but your live streams are always maxed out at 720p. It's just a heads up. I'm sure it's bandwidth. Yeah, man. In Brazil, there is a problem with the internet. There always has been. And I get it from a big company. The problem is there's small companies who get in the internet game and they mess with the cables too. And the way they run their cables is not good. And your big company will have a smaller company fucking with their cables due to lack of expertise or engineering, or it's just due to malice because they want to get more customers. So yeah, man, it's I'm moving into the house in a smaller city next year, so I got to max out the internet. I got to start using OBS. I'm just a little bit of a spiritual boomer. I just kind of like to sit down and record, but oh, Mike, what's up, man? We were talking about you. Yeah, I guess maybe. Mike, I don't even know what to make of it. We'll just open that up with Lauren because I'm sure people want to talk about it. What's up, Lauren?
Hey, Happy New Year.
I'm doing good. Happy New Year to you. And so, Mike, let's just start off with what Mike was talking about.
What do you say? Because I missed it.
If we changed our opinions on Panthers, Jags, like I don't
Trevor's
know.
out now. Is that
Lawrence is out. So I don't even know what to say to that. Like,
so we got CJ Beathard.
Yeah.
To me, it's a no-fly zone.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Because I'll be honest with you, Trevor banged up was atrocious. CJ Beathard couldn't do shit when he came in last time. He came off the bench. I'm not going to count on him too much. I mean, the Jags need this game. Like, the Jags absolutely need this game. Tampa's just kind of playing for pride and jobs, which is still a big deal, right? So to me, this is really a no-fly zone. I don't want to bet on CJ Beathard. I don't want to. I think this is a good week for ETN to go over his rushing. But I'm not going to lay the points. I don't even know how much it is anymore, and I'm not going to take it with Carolina either. To me, it's a no-fly zone.
And we're not even getting good value, Lauren. Like, on one
of
the books,
it's horrible.
It's like -4. Like, okay, like.
Yeah, that's nothing. Yeah, I'm not. There's really no reason to play this game. Like, I don't even know why anybody even is interested in taking this game. Like, what I mean, why?
Well, and last week,
nobody's gonna buy.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. So what game do you want to start with? Do you got a best bet this week?
Bills -12.
Okay, go on.
So here's my deal, guys. The Bills lost to the Pats earlier this year. Early in the year in New England, right?
Teaser smash, man. That was a teaser obliterator.
Yeah. I mean, I think Taquan Jones was a full participant this week. There's good news there. When they win at home, they win big. The Pats are just heavily overmatched here. And I think Micah Hyde's probably back. This is a great spot for the Bills. They're at home. 5 weeks ago, the Bills went from a 10% playoff chance to now potentially being the number 2 seed.
Well,
so,
but no, I get it. It's just, it's going to be, that's banking on them beating the Dolphins in the last game. They have to go down to Miami.
Right. I said potentially. Okay. I said potentially. This is a really good spot for the Bills. They're going back home. They're back in Buffalo. When they beat people a lot at home, especially New England. So I am not listen, this is going to be a long day for Bailey Zappi or whoever they found to play this week. I don't know. I think it's going to be a very, very long day for him. I see a lot of potential New England turnovers. Um, and I actually like, to be honest with you, I like James Cook under because New England is good against the run. I think Josh Allen slings it around all over the place. And when you're slinging it around, you're scoring touchdowns.
What's
So
he
I
at?
think hmm,
What's James Cook at? Sorry to cut you off.
68, I think.
Yeah, I actually do think like the only thing the Colts still, the only thing the Patriots still do well on defense is their run fits. I
Is the
completely
run.
agree.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
and,
I'll actually
go
go
on, go
for
on, go
the
on.
Allen. That's okay. Just go for. To me, I think the Bills. I have it at -12. Love it. I think they'll win by probably 20.
Yeah, I get it. And like I got really scared with some of the advice from people I was seeing on Instagram that there needs, like, for instance, like one of the teaser slots has to be bringing the Patriots up to 20. Does that even fucking make sense? Because like you said with the Bills, they're front runners. So let's say you think the Patriots are going to cover. Like let's say you think that, which is entirely possible, but I wouldn't bet it. So let's say you thought the Pats could cover. You bring that up to 20. What value are you really fucking getting? Like you're not getting any value because, like you said,
No,
if the
and
Bills have one of those days, they're gonna whip their ass by like 30.
last week was a week to fade the Bills. Last week was a week to take the Chargers with all those points at home. The Bills are not on the West Coast this week. They're not traveling. They're not playing away. They're at home. So against New England, who they are absolutely going to beat the shit out of. So whoever put in the chat, we see how that worked out last week. We weren't on the Bills last week. We were on the Chargers to cover, at least, So in my opinion, I will lay 12 points with the Bills at home against New England. Oh, I already did it. It was my biggest play, my biggest bet.
One game we didn't talk about the whole day was my God. We didn't talk about the Saints and Buccaneers. Someone wanted to know your opinion on that.
Do not fall for this trappy ass Tampa -3 line. Tampa was -2.5 to the Jags last week. Trappiest line ever, right? So do not fall for this Tampa -3. You guys, I'm not a homer. I don't bet my team ever. However, if you are going to get the best Saints performance all year, it's going to be against Tampa. I know Lawson's going to be completely against me. You're going to be against. Listen, here's I'll give you some analogy on this. Mayfield's been playing well. We've talked about it. But he does put the ball in harm's way. He can put the ball in harm's way. Baker as a favorite, like 13-25. You know what I mean? Not that that's like a big deal. Like, I really don't go off of all that stuff, but this will be the Saints' best effort all freaking year. It's a divisional game. Even Todd Bowles is 6-14-2 as a favorite of 3 or more. Shaheed has been playing like 90% of the snaps now. The Tampa defense is exploitable, so I'm not buying this 3 points for a reason. Everyone thinks it seems to be such a 80% of the public is on Tampa.
Whew.
80% of the public is on Tampa.
Oh, that shouldn't be.
I'm telling you, this is the trappiest of traps ever for a divisional game. for a team who historically, I don't care who the quarterback was, Taysom Hill, Teddy Bridgewater, you had Tom Brady on one side, Jameis Winston, whatever. Um, the Saints can play Tampa. The Saints can play Tampa. So I'm going to tell you, you will get the best effort out of the Saints that you've had all year. Don't fall for it, in
And
my opinion. I don't.
it's just,
I don't bet my team.
and people were circling back to the Bills one. They said the Bills one is at -14 now. When I came on the show, it was -12. Does that change your opinion now? That's 2 touchdowns.
No, I don't care.
Yeah. So I
I
want.
mean,
I want to see.
I had it at -12. Um, you know, even if you got to buy it down to -13, I don't care. Buy it point down. You know what I'm saying? If that makes you feel better, or 13 and a half, whatever the case may be. Um, you know, I'm not. There's absolutely, nothing would stop me from taking the Bills minus.
And to get back to that Saints Bucks game, you do wonder, are the Saints ever going to have a game where they pass the ball well? Because one thing that has concerned me about the Bucks this whole year is the secondary. And I just wonder, like, are the Saints ever going to throw it well? And law of averages says eventually they're going to get one game. But yeah, that's the
And
state of
listen,
this game.
at the last 2 weeks of the season, crazy shit happens. Teams that shouldn't win. The spoiler effect comes in. Atlanta, Tampa, and New Orleans. Technically, all 3 of them are still in this in some way, fashion, right? In some fashion or another. That's how they look at it. So I'm not buying the -3. The -2.5 was an absolute crappy line last week against the Jags. That was with Trevor Lawrence. Now you're going to give -3 against your divisional foe who normally beats the shit out of you. I don't care what happens. I don't care. I mean, we beat them with who the hell was it? Taysom Hill beat him one year. Jason, you know what I mean? Like Teddy Bridgewater's beating them. I mean, Drew beat him. Even when Jameis went out the year he hurt his leg, the backup that came in, the kid from Denver, wherever the hell he came from, he finished. You know what I'm saying? And didn't win a game the rest of the year, but they continued to beat up on Tampa. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, should take it for what it's worth. Obviously, I watch a lot of Saints games. I don't do homer picks. I very rarely ever even touch a Saints game just because it's so much bad quan
You're
when you do
betting
that. Yeah,
Okay.
I am. I am.
Yeah, and with the Saints, like, here's the thing. So remember that game against the Rams, and I actually felt like they should have won it. And they had just a stall in the game, like an 8-minute period where they just completely collapsed. But the rest of the game, I felt like, okay, like I actually felt like they were looking good. That's why the Saints have been such a hard team this year. The only time we really rallied around them was when they were against the Colts. And I thought maybe that was the turning point where they would put together better performances. But I do agree, man. Like, and people need to remember, like you said, week 17 and week 18 are fucking nuts. So
They really are, and crazy things happen in these last 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So I'm just telling you, this 3, like, really, with the Saints, kind of the way things are going, like, and the way that Tampa is on this high, wouldn't it be more than 3? Right?
yeah, because like I don't think Vegas is getting emotional with it. And I think they kind of threw out that Tampa performance against the Packers. Because obviously, like, people reacted to that. Like, listen, I kind of felt like the Packers defense sucked, but a lot of people thought, Packers at Lambeau. And then once they saw that, public got excited, which I don't blame them. It was impressive. But for instance,
Yeah,
like let's just pivot to this. Like I think the Vikings beat the Packers this week. They
I do
barely
too.
beat. Yeah. Like I'm surprised. Like I'm not surprised you're on it because this Packers team is fucking bad.
They're
So,
horrible. They are the most overrated anything I've seen all year.
and now here's what I get. The only thing I get worried about. I'm pretty sure I'm going to bet it, but I'm still deciding. So, let me know your feedback. I'm always a little bit concerned about how bad the Vikings defense was against the Lions last week. I I do know the Vikings turned the ball over. What did they turn it over? 3-4 times again with Nick Mullins. But I actually just think getting another quarterback on there, if they can cut out the turnovers, I think they can get stops on Jordan Love. Like I don't get the vibe that the Vikings are giving up. We'll see what you
No,
think about that. Yeah,
no,
so
I'm
that's what.
I'm I'm definitely. If I were to play that game, I'm definitely on the Vikings. I don't think that. Um, I don't. I think that the Vikings defense is just way too stout for Jordan Love. I don't care that he won on Thanksgiving. I don't care that
Oh fuck.
no team is as good as their last game or as bad as their last game. Everyone needs to remember that, right? So just because, and that's another thing we'll get into later. But I'm going to talk to you guys about your boy Mason Rudolph shortly. Um, but just remember that. And crazy things happen. Cincinnati went into San Francisco and won this year. Let's not forget that.
It was
A
a good
shitty,
game.
Cincinnati, a shitty Cincinnati defense went in, and yeah, the Ravens went in there and won too. So, are you going to say that Cincinnati is just as good as the Ravens? No. You know what I mean? So, you just have to understand that crazy shit happens. The lines are made for a reason, and it is what it is. So, it's definitely a fade. It's definitely a fade on the Bucks for me. Um, I like the Green Bay mini game under at the most really. Um,
If they limit
I can't.
turnovers, it'll go under. It's just the
Yeah.
turnovers have gotten out of control in those games.
And with your Raiders, I was listening to you. I absolutely love the Raiders team total over 19 and a half.
That kind of means
Love
they
it.
win the game. So if you're betting on team total over 19 and a half, you got to kind of take the 3.5 as well.
Yeah,
Because how
I
much
am.
can they? Okay, go on.
Yeah, I'm on the Raiders. I'm on their team total over 19 and a half, and I'll take the 3.5 also.
Concerned about the Colts too. Like, listen, I'm like you just said, not holding one performance against a team. But like I said, the way they were physically manhandled that game, and we saw how physical the Raiders were last week against the Chiefs. I don't know if I could. I don't know if anyone could dip back into the Colts, especially with that hook. It'd be tough to do it, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a there's yeah. I don't.
It's
Mm-mm.
just not much to say about that game. Like Falcons Bears, I saw you were on the Falcons. Agree with you.
I
I
was.
don't have much
Yeah.
chance for that because I don't know if the Falcons are going to fucking show up. So
So I'm on the Falcons. I have some reasons behind it. I'll tell you. Yes, I was on Arizona last week. I don't because the Bears as favorites to me are absolute, just not an underdog. Yes, a favorite. No, yeah, great. A blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again. They won as a favorite against
can I
Arizona.
put some perspective on that?
Congratulations to you. Well,
I'm going to just put a little bit of perspective on that. As poor as the Cardinals played in the first half, they had the ball with a chance to cover with like 5 minutes left. And
yeah,
listen, if you gave me that before the game, I probably would have shook your hand and still did the bet. But that's
me
just me.
too. Me too. And listen, here's the Bears' wins this year. Okay, here they are. The Bears, 6 wins. The Vikings with Dobbs. Okay. The Cardinals last week. Goff outdoors, as we know, is a pumpkin. the Raiders with Brian Hoyer, the Commanders. I mean, those are their 6 wins. So let's not get carried away. Okay? You know what I mean? So, yes, I'm on Atlanta as an underdog, as a better team. Yes, I'm on Atlanta. Uh, getting the points. I think they win on the field, actually, personally. But yeah, I'm going to take I already took Atlanta +3.
And here's the thing, Lauren. Are we even seeing Justin Fields play good? Like,
I mean, he wasn't that great last week. Like, I wasn't.
He hasn't been good at all. Like, do you remember that game where they won against Dobbs? Even the Detroit game.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, like literally. I just listed the Vikings with Dobbs, the Cards, Golf Outdoors, which we all, I was on Chicago there. The Raiders with Brian Hoyer, the Commanders with whoever was their merry-go-round quarterback at that time. I mean, they're not going to be able to run on Atlanta.
And about just to pivot to the Steelers-Seahawks game.
Yeah.
You were battling with people about Mason Rudolph in the chat.
So listen, okay. Am I on the 3.5? I can see it, and I can see an argument both ways. I probably can get on the 3.5, but here's my argument with Mason freaking Rudolph. Okay, he got credit last week for, was it 290 yards passing? 113 of them were George Pickens after the catch. So he got credit for 290 yards, which numbers don't lie. It happened. 113 yards came from George Pickens after the catch. I'm not buying it. Okay,
I'm not buying it either. And can we be honest? That was like, listen, Steelers offense started hot. Let's not take anything away. But listen, the Browning's just getting absolutely fucking boot.
He just got obliterated, right? It was terrible. So he had 17. Literally, Rudolph had 17 completions. So
that's pretty
in
low.
my 17.
Right. That's pretty low, man. That's like early
okay.
90s.
Right. So if you think I'm on this Rudolph to rally another 300 yards now in Seattle, okay, no, I'm not. So one of my plays is, if you can follow me or not, is Rudolph, under the 217 yards passing. And, could they maybe fumble their way with the 3.5? Maybe. But I'll tell you what else I like. I like DK Metcalf over his longest reception of 23.5 yards. Love that. He's gone over that.
Is really overrated. Like, I just need.
Yeah. So he's gone over that 11 of his 14 last games, 4 straight, and a lot of his yards come after the catch. So now he's at home. 23.5 for a longest reception for DK, to me, just seems like a slam dunk. And he can definitely do that against the Steelers secondary all day.
And Daniel, and Happy New Year to you too, Daniel. Yeah, and Lauren's like adamantly is picking the Saints. For me, I think it's a no bet game just because he's asking the question. But Lauren was adamantly on the Saints, which I give her credit for. Like, I think that's a good Week 17 pick. And like someone was saying in the chat, I think Stephen Bradshaw was saying Tomlin pixie dust. Like, in a way, like, can we be honest? Like, that's kind of what we're betting on when we chase the Steelers. Like, we've been successful with it this year, but this Steelers team stinks, man. And I do
listen.
I know. Like, that's what I'm wondering.
Seattle's defense is actually they've gotten a little better. which isn't saying much, but they've got to. Yeah, I went on a Steelers rant last week. I sure as hell did because they're the most anemic offense. I just told you though, without 113 yards from George Pickens after the catch, without that, does really this actually happen? Now it happened. So kudos to them. Great. Congratulations. I don't know. I don't even remember if I played the game. If I did, I probably took Cincinnati and lost. But I'm just telling you right now, this is not a good spot. I'm not buying into Rudolph. I'm not buying into him throwing for 290 yards again against. No, absolutely not. So great. Congratulations. He saved Christmas. The red-nosed reindeer saved Christmas. Wonderful. Now he's got to go to Seattle. And they got to play, in that environment across country.
Yeah, for me, with the Steelers plus 3.5 is more of like an argument against some of the problems with Seattle, like pass blocking.
And I
don't know what you think about Geno this year.
I would prefer Drew Lock. But I would prefer Drew Lock, to be honest with you.
Here, why not give Drew Lock a chance? I know the speech maybe got us motivated, but honestly, why not just roll the dice with Lock? Geno's been poor. He's been really poor.
I can tell you right now, I can make an argument for this 3.5. I probably will take the 3.5. I'm not saying the Steelers can't stay in this game. I think it might be a last-minute field goal. I think that we're talking that the 3 in the hook, to me, is very appealing. I'm not saying the Steelers are gonna, lay an egg. I'm just saying I'm not buying Rudolph. You guys, if you really watched that game, I just told you he had 17 completions.
And I think this year I think it's a good year since I think we've had 54 different quarterbacks. I'm probably off. It's probably up to 60. I just think it's a good lesson.
I don't know. And 30 of them are in Minnesota. So,
we've had 4. So let's hope. Maybe you'll get on to Minnesota Monday night. Listen, I watched Jaren Hall against Atlanta. It was very short, got knocked out early in the second quarter. Didn't look that bad. And honestly, if Nick Mullins can pump it for 350, I like his chances because we know Nick Mullins is poor. He's in the Mason Rudolph category of backup quarterbacks. I wonder about that. People were asking about in the chat your thought on the Ravens-Dolphins game.
What's that? On my what?
The Ravens-Dolphins.
The Ravens-Dolphins. Yeah, here's my what is that line now?
Plus 3.5. It seemed to settle
down.
Yeah. Plus 3.5 for Miami.
All right, here's my play for this game, okay? Durham Smythe over 18.5 receiving yards. That's my play.
Who?
Durham Smythe, the tight end. There's no Waddle. He's had 4 catches for at least 32 yards in his last few games when they're missing a top wide receiver. So if they're missing Waddle, the Ravens allow 47 yards to the tight end on average. So Durham Smythe is going to get some of these extra tosses that Waddle would have gotten. And I think Durham Smythe over 18.5 receiving yards is some serious plus money. Put that into your hat of tricks. As far as the line, I want nothing to do with it.
Same here. I want to bet it, though, but I just can't.
I would love to, and if I was going to, I don't know. I mean, it'd be more.
I gotta tell you what I'm looking forward to. I'm not hoping Miami loses, but Miami will. There's a good possibility they lose this game, and I'm waiting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When Buffalo goes down to South Florida, I'm pounding the Dolphins. We've only had 3 college fun games this year. That's going to be the 4th, and I'm pounding them against the Bills.
Okay.
Bills are getting a lot of hype, man. I might even get the Dolphins at like -1.5, -2. A lot of people are liking the Bills right now. As long as it's -3, I'm going deep into that. That's what I'm waiting for.
So, I mean, listen, I like ETN over 20.5 receiving yards.
I like that too, especially with Bethard. That shit's going to move, though. I wonder if that didn't move already. You see how
I don't know.
like this. We've said shit on here, then it moves like as soon as I get off. But yeah, like I liked a lot.
Yeah.
I like going up to like 35 on that.
Oh, I mean, you might even get DJ Chark over 23.5 receiving yards too. He's done that out of 7 out of 10 last games, 2 touchdowns last week. So against the Jags secondary, so I mean, and I'll tell you right now, Brissett in the 49ers game, I got to stay away from it because if they get up big, it's just going to be a CMC run or even some backup running back festival.
Yeah, can I
be a lot of that?
Because I saw like on the internet, like a prop people were talking about was that McCaffrey over 85.5. Like with the fact that Sam Howell might be starting again, I agree. You can't fucking go with that. And if you're Shanahan, like you can't be giving it to him in the second half of that game. Like you just can't do it.
Yeah. Another good one too, like I think you already talked about it, was DeAndre Swift over, what is it, 67.5 now?
Yeah, 66.5. We saw Arizona last week. Like the Bears got like 250, and they're not even that physical.
I mean, 67.5 to me is nothing. You might as well take him and Gainwell, and take Gainwell for over 20.5. Play them together. It's like plus 222. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely could see that happening. And they've got, even a better match this week against the Cardinals. Obviously, rush defense. There's a lot of, listen to this one. Back to the Bills, even aside from the fact that they're going to, I think, beat the shit out of New England's going to have to pass the ball. They're going to have to throw pretty much all game. They're not going to be able to just run. They're going to be behind. So Devontae Parker over 36.5 receiving yards is so sexy because he's had 19 targets the last 3 weeks. He's getting volume. He's had 65, 44, 52, I think, on his last 3 games. This line is 36.5 for Devontae Parker. I mean, they're going to have to throw.
And Bills don't have any dominant corners unless since Tre'Davious White got hurt, they don't have anyone.
Yeah, so really, he's like their best bet for slinging it. And 36.5 yards really isn't much to ask for somebody that's had 19 targets the last 3 weeks. He's pretty much, Zappy's dependent. Zappy's dependent on him. So they're going to have to throw. I love that. I love the Gibbs over 48.5 rushing yards. I told you that. Dallas actually ranks 19th against rush allowed.
And Lauren, don't you kind of think against Dallas, you're kind of like forced to run the ball given how?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So the one that I gave
got a punching chance in that game.
Oh, I do like the Lions. I do. I'm just scared about them. Like when they went to Baltimore and were an underdog and laid an edge. But now they're indoors.
Can I tell you also why I'm scared? Because I agree with what you said. Because there's the problem with Dallas games. I feel like betting their games, they can turn into college football games where 5.5, 6 points means fuck all. And that's why the over is so high too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see that. I can see all of that. There's definitely a lot. See, the one that I gave in the chat that I said was the Goff over 1.5 passing touchdowns. That should be easy. CD Lamb anytime touchdown. That's been money. And Dallas again, like I said, ranks number 19 in rush allowed. So Gibbs over 48.5 rushing yards. Like he's probably going to do that in the first half,
We
at
need to
least the
go
first
watch
three
that.
quarters. That was the one that I put in today. That was the Saturday same game that I put in. So, and we're playing with house money now. You know what I mean? So, um, it's definitely worth it to me. As far as I stayed away from the line, I stayed away from all that because I don't know what the hell's going to happen in that game. But I can see your point. I can see your argument for Dallas to cover, maybe even win. Um, Dallas is a different team at home, though. They're really good at home. They get on the road, and they're completely. I don't know that they could beat a college team sometimes on the road, but you get them at home, and they're like on steroids. So but it's covering a lot. What is it now? Is it 6? I think I lost John. Am I by myself in here, guys? Is it just me? Uh-oh. I think I lost everybody. Are you guys still here? Like, are you guys all still in the chat? Is it just betting in arms? Just me and you now, Lauren. Fine. I guess I have the floor. Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the Lauren show, guys. Um, it's the Lauren to 6. We're here. All right, good. I'm glad everyone's still here. I don't know what happened to Lawson. He got kicked out. I'm just gonna, I won't leave yet. But you guys, it's the Lauren show. Oh, this is great. It's about time I get my own show, right, guys? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Give us your top 3 while Lawson is out. Let's see. Hi, Krishna. Did I say that right? Krishna? Okay. Um, let's see. Top 3. The Bills. I like the Bills. I like Atlanta. And you guys are gonna think I'm a homer, but I like the Saints. Um, and I like. See, I can get on. I, uh, I like the Raiders. Um, I can get on with with the Steelers, maybe not as much as a lot of you guys are, but I can get on that. But I do like the Raiders, and I do like their team total over. The Chargers, I'm kind. It's more like it's more like a stay away from me now since all of that stuff has happened. Um, as far as let's see what else we got. Oh, I like Devontae Smith over 56.5 yards. Um, a lot. And let's see, what else do I got here? You said the Bills. The Bills. I'm telling you guys, it is the damn Bills. Like you guys want my favorite? Hi Tasha. You guys want my favorite? It's the damn Bills. I'm telling you, I love them this week. I absolutely love them to murder New England. Texans, Titans. Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing for Texans, Titans. Um, the Raiders this week remind me of the Colts last week. Real public dog. Yeah, I think they can hang. In today's guest host. I could see the Lions team total over 23. That probably means they're pretty much going to cover, right? I could see that. I don't. The Lawson one, you're gonna. I can't. I can't give all that because that's his. That's his jam. That's his gig. Uh, so you're gonna have to see what he posts on Patreon later today. Um, I can't get on anything with this Rams Giants. I can't really make heads or tails with this Rams Giants game. So to me, it's kind of a stay away. I do like Saquon Barkley over 2.5 receptions. He says he's hit that 7 out of his 10 last games. Kyron Williams is the go-to guy. So whatever the hell the over is on his rushing, I mean, I could see that happening. There's a lot of you know, now out of all the stuff I've given you guys, it doesn't mean everything is something that's going to go or everything that I'm taking. It's just the stuff that I've written down. The one thing I did do though was the Dallas Detroit the same game one with the CD Lamb touchdown and the Gibbs rushing and the Goff over 1.5. I did, that one's already in play. So let's see. My team is the Bills. I'm afraid of the Bills and the big spreads. Nope, not at home. No, no. Love it. Love the Bills this week. All right, the sticks. Awesome. Robinson, Rams over 37. I don't know. I can definitely get on Kyron Williams, but I don't know about Robinson, maybe. I mean, they've been throwing it to him, but as far as they still got Cooper Cup and Puka, so he is the third option, but he's been a good third option the last couple weeks. So, yeah, Bills do have at least 130-6 win against New England every. Yeah, exactly, right. So, and we all know New England's not getting to the playoffs, so this would be their like 30-6. Yeah, I love it. I love the Bills this week. I know I'm probably alone, against a lot of the public because they went to Southern California and didn't cover 14 or whatever it was on the road. That's a totally different scenario. So I can what's your channel name so I can subscribe? Oh, it's great. No, I don't have a channel. I do comment on Patreon. I do have the ability to make comments and stuff like that. So, but I will if you guys want. I mean, obviously you can hear or replay back things I said. So I'm guessing Lawson got kicked off. I stayed a little extra just to see if he could get back on. Obviously, that's not happening. So I guess I'm gonna have to cut it short and just say that he'll have his fix on Patreon tonight, usually around like 9:30 Eastern time, maybe before. It just depends. Yeah, no, I don't think Lawson's coming back. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Lauren show for the last few minutes. I get to keep the super? No, I don't. No, it's not my show. It's Lawson's show. Lauren, do you like Philly -10 against Zona? I could get on that. Philly's got a lot to prove. My Instagram is fearlesslkn. Smith versus Colts anytime touchdown. Maybe. Yeah. Let's see. I do have to leave because I actually have somewhere to be, guys. So I can't stay any longer than this. Anyways, usually this is about when he cuts it off. But I do have to leave, and I think he got cut out anyways. So hopefully everybody has a good weekend. I hope you guys will have a very safe New Year. Please don't drink and drive. Get an Uber, get a Lyft, phone a friend, anything along those. Make sure you guys are safe and everybody has a Keeper year. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, but hopefully everything. Hopefully we all have a good, profitable weekend. I'm sure we'll be talking during the games on Patreon. Go Saints, go Bills. Yes, those are my two plays. It's not a homer play, guys. And listen, I don't ever play the Saints. I don't play against them. I don't play on them ever. But if I were to, this would be the week I would take them. So happy New Year, guys. Y'all have a good weekend. It was good talking to y'all. Bye.